Welcome in to another edition of A Closer Look. I'm your host, Dwayne Nelson, and with me today is Kay Ward, and she is with Reading Buddies in Bristol, and that's both Tennessee and Virginia, right?
Absolutely, it certainly is.
It is great to have you here with me today and talking about reading, because obviously that's a very important thing in my job and for everybody that goes through life now. And tell me, I guess, a little bit of the history behind Reading Buddies.
Reading Buddies Bristol, Tennessee, Virginia is a nonprofit community organization designed to ensure that boys and girls on both sides of the state line in Bristol enter third grade as on grade level readers. We know that boys and girls learn to read in kindergarten, first and second grade, but at the point of third grade, they need to be able to read to learn.
Were you finding that from third on it was a little difficult for kids, or?
Well, it is difficult from third grade on if they don't come into third grade reading on grade level, because there is so much content learning at that time. You are reading to learn when you get to the third grade. So if you don't come to third grade at that level, we see that our boys and girls struggle.
Now, how long has this organization been around?
Well, we piloted the program in Bristol, Tennessee at Anderson Elementary School in January of 2013. We began with kindergarten students at Anderson and saw such success. We expanded the program to include kindergartners at Fairmount Elementary School the next school year. And at that point, our friends in Bristol, Virginia became very interested in the program and asked to bring on Highland View kindergartners. And at that point, Reading Buddies Bristol, Tennessee, Virginia was formed.
Now, it's not in every school, but a majority of them.
Well, we serve a total of 5 schools now on both sides of the state line. We have 3 schools in Bristol, Tennessee. We have Anderson Elementary, Fairmount Elementary, and Avoca Elementary came on board last year with their kindergarten class. We now serve Highland View Elementary School as well as Van Pelt in Bristol, Virginia.
So what kind of results have you seen so far just in the limited time that this program has been around, 4 or 5 years?
Well, we did lots of research before we began the program. We researched how nationwide these types of programs had affected student achievement, and Bristol has certainly followed suit. Our boys and girls are assessed in Bristol, Tennessee in the fall, at Christmas time, and also in the spring, and we make those comparisons from the fall to the spring, and our assessment results have been extremely encouraging.
So you've noticed a pretty big difference between the schools that aren't involved in the program versus the schools that are.
We have targeted our Title I schools with this program, and we have seen dramatic results with boys and girls who have participated in the program. Our data is really, as I said, focused on boys and girls that have participated in the program, and we've seen extremely positive results.
And obviously, even with reading, comprehension is very much a part of this, I'm sure.
True. Again, going back to that third grade style of learning, you have to be able to read to learn in third grade. Conversation is a very basic part of language arts. We began in kindergarten with our Reading Buddies with the Community Mentorship Program in talking about that a good conversation with some questions is considered a very successful Reading Buddy visit. We need boys and girls to be able to think in sequential order, to be able to recognize words, to be able to answer questions about what they read, not only just recognize the sound, recognize the words and the sounds that the letters make. So absolutely, comprehension is very important.
So are the students tested periodically to see what improvements have been made?
Absolutely, we do. In Bristol, Tennessee, we work with the STAR Literacy Assessment when school opens in the fall. We retest again at Christmas, and in the spring we test.
Now, the goals of your organization, talk about those goals and what you are striving for.
Well, the purpose of Reading Buddies Bristol, Tennessee, Virginia is to ensure that boys and girls on both sides of the state line come into third grade as on grade level readers. Our goal is for 90% of boys and girls coming into third grade in Bristol, Tennessee and Bristol, Virginia, reading on grade level.
And the organization, you support groups to assist in the recruitment of Reading Buddy volunteers. So I'm sure you're using a lot of volunteers to help promote this program.
We are. Presently in Bristol, Tennessee, we ended the program last year with 102 volunteers, serving 121 of our elementary boys and girls. We started in Bristol, Tennessee, the program with one community partner, serving
Wow.
17 students. We ended in Bristol, Tennessee last year with 22 community partners participating in the program. We have our city leaders that are very involved and very supportive of the program. We have city councilmen that are reading buddies. Our firefighters and police departments are very involved. Our local businesses in Bristol have been very supportive. As far as time, we have folks that are allowed time to come from work. Their business owners allow them to dedicate 30 minutes to coming into one of our Title I schools and spending time with a child to promote the Reading Buddy program.
So is this done on a daily basis, or are you putting together this program, I'm sure daily, probably for these students?
We do have Reading Buddies in all our in our 3 Title I schools, participating schools every day of the week during the school day. We have folks that, as I said, come from local businesses. We ask that they be able to commit 30 minutes a week at the same time every week. The Reading Buddy program, although it says Reading Buddies, it's not all about reading. It's all about developing a positive relationship with a community member that is very willing to support the idea of education and support the idea of being able to read. So we do have that relationship factor that is very, very important. And to be able to carry on that relationship, we do ask folks to commit to a certain time during the week, every week, to build that relationship.
Now, I'm sure that you're getting parents, foster parents, and the likes to be involved in this. And how do you do that?
Our parents are involved. Well, let me back up to say that when we began the program, we did lots of research, as I said, nationwide. We saw that the most successful schools nationwide, first of all, had a great community mentorship program, but we also saw that they had not only parent involvement programs, but their families were very engaged. In other words, they were aware of what was happening in the classroom, and they were trained to support that classroom instruction at home. So our families certainly are very involved. We have 4 what we call reading parties a year, and during these quarterly events, we have folks that come in, they eat a very light dinner. We dedicate 20 minutes or so to a light dinner, at which time children are divided. They go to another location, and parents stay with a reading specialist and are taught a particular skill that their child will be working on in the near future. They have a make it, take it type activity. All materials are furnished. They talk about why this skill is important and why it would be important to support that skill at home. They make the activity, and many times they have the opportunity to practice that activity with another family attending the event.
Now, how do you identify a student that needs this extra time and extra learning?
Our goal is for all our boys and girls in kindergarten, first and second grade to have a reading buddy. We feel like everybody needs that extra support. Everybody can use that extra support, let's just put it that way. Children are served first who have been identified by their teacher as possibly needing that extra support to begin with.
Right. And a lot of times teachers working with students will find those small things that the students are having problems with, you know.
Right.
And can identify with that.
Sure.
And then that helps, I guess, you all to kind of hone in on exactly what needs to be taken care of there?
Well, at that point, we pair that student with an adult. All of the materials, all of the instruction comes from the classroom teacher. Our reading buddies are provided a basket or a bag, depending on the school, with lots of hands-on activities. No reading experience is required, no experience in the teaching of reading is required for these folks. The relationship factor is first. All materials are provided by our classroom teachers, and they're very hands-on kind of materials. It isn't a situation where our folks are going to come in and work on a worksheet or simply read out of a textbook the entire time. Lots of hands-on things like pie plates with magnetic letters. You may work with letter identification with Play-Doh. Lots of hands-on types of things. Now, there are also books in the event that the child wants to hear a story or the child wants to help the reading buddy read the story, and we work on some comprehension skills that we talked about a little bit earlier. It's a very informal time. It's not a structured time. The reading buddy takes the child away from the classroom, so it's in a reading buddy it's in a reading buddy area. All reading buddies are required to undergo and pass a background check, so they are allowed to take the child to another location within the school.
All right.
So
it sounds like you've got a lot, and we got more to cover about reading buddies in Bristol, and we're going to do that in just a moment with Kay Ward.
Thank you.